Today we are fixing an inactive fuel gauge on a 1997 GMC Safari. I know that the fuel sender unit can go bad. I read a technical service bulletin stating that sulfur contamination can disrupt electrical continuity. I've even heard that if you over tighten the gas straps, the fuel sender unit won't work. No. On the Astro and Safari, diagnosing the fuel sender unit is very simple and no guessing is needed. Here's an example of what the needle does. Now, as you can see, that needle is not going anywhere. So let's fix that. Here we have a fuel pump. This is the floater that reads the fuel level. We're set to read resistance in our multimeter and more on the specific pins in a bit. When you're empty, you should be reading 40 ohms of resistance. And when you have a full tank, you're supposed to read around 249 ohms of resistance. This way, you don't have to drop the tank to access that connector. Full or empty, 40. Full, 249. So now let's go under the van and test this connector. Disconnect your fuel pump harness and you'll notice that it has 7 pins. With the clip on the top, we got pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to connect to pin number 3 and pin number 6 using your multimeter. Set it to read resistance. And we should get a reading between 40 and 252 ohms. As we saw earlier in the example, when the fuel pump is empty, it's around 40 ohms. And when it's full, it's around 252 ohms. I have a full tank right now, and we are reading 250 ohms. This fuel sending unit is working correctly. Now the fault lies in between the female side of the connector and the instrument cluster. Next up, we're going to check for continuity between the female side of the fuel pump connector and the connector that connects to the instrument panel. With the clip on top, we're going to connect to the 2 pins on the bottom right. The 2 pins. I would call them pin number 5 and pin number 7, one at a time. We're going to begin with the most important one, pin number 7. So I'm going to use my retractable leads. And I am only connected to pin number 7 at the moment. At this point, we have removed the dash cover and the instrument panel. The instrument panel has 4 932 bolts. And an extension really comes in handy. At this point, we have solved the issue, and what I'm going to show you is what a good connection to the instrument panel looks like. So here's my other end, and the other end you saw that it was connected to the female side of the fuel pump connector, pin number 7. Now the connection has 2 rows, a top row and a bottom row. The 2 middle rows, they don't have anything. There's 17 pins on the top and 17 on the bottom. If we connect our lead to pin number 10 and pin number 11, we should get low 1700s ohms reading. So this is pin number 10 right here. And we're getting 1722. Now we move it to pin number 11. And we should be getting near the same. Now for pin number 1, you should get high 1700s. Maybe even low 1800s. Now for the bottom row, we want to test pins number 5, 10, 11, 14, 15, and 17. those all should be low 1700s. To cut the length of the video, those other pins in between read about 1700. So everything's looking good here. At this point, we have verified that we're getting a good connection from the instrument cluster connector. Now we took an extra step and even swapped the instrument cluster itself. And the problem persisted on the replacement cluster. What could be the cause? Take a look at this abridged wiring diagram. Here's our fuel gauge, and here's our fuel level sender. These are confirmed to be operating correctly. So what's in between these components? This, a fuel sender gauge module. It's connected behind the OBD2 port with a push pin. Once I freed it, I jiggled it a few times, cleaned it, and guess what? The fuel needle started working. After cleaning the connections and making sure everything was set on the fuel sender gauge module, the fuel pump needle has come back to life. Now, whenever I put the key in for the first time, it goes a little wacko, but then it comes back to its senses. So I'm guessing, or I'm assuming that the module is still kind of wacky. So I'll look for a replacement module at the local junkyard. The fuel gauge is working, but we have traced the problem to that module, so I will get it replaced in the near future. But for now, problem solved. I hope you guys learned something. Have a good day.